This episode of Maverick in the Machine is brought to you by Jones Plantation Film. If you haven't seen the indie, soon-to-be cult classic Jones Plantation Film yet, go watch that film. It's available now at jonesplantationfilm.com. That's jonesplantationfilm.com and on most major streaming platforms.
Jones!
Also, my new film, Barnum World, is out now. And per the Indiegogo campaign we did, it's available everywhere for free. So you can find that at my YouTube channel at Drew Media TV, my Rumble channel. All my channels are basically Drew Media. And there'll be more platforms coming soon. Now, let's start this episode of Maverick in the Machine.
Insanity is what I call society. Don't tell me what to do, don't tell me how to be. I don't trust the government, I know they lie to me. They can like my body, yo, for my soul and mind to breathe.
All right. I've got a real Maverick in the building today. The man, the myth, the legend, Jeff Berwick, we've actually, even before we get into it, me and you have got now some miles under our feet. Like, I've known you for obviously we live far away, but for like 10 years. And I was on the Anarchast, your old podcast in 2015. Do you remember that?
You were? No, I don't remember that.
Don't you remember? I came to your house.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I do remember it. Yeah. Holy cow. I forgot all about it.
Yeah, I remember it really in detail. Like, you were eating fish and you're like, you want some fish? And I'm like, no. And Jason Basler from Free Thought Project was there.
Yes. I remember that totally now. Yeah, I forgot that was even you. That's amazing.
And then your wife was there and she was hanging out with her friend and her were at the pool. And I remember her friend was like a dime, like a complete smoke show. I was like, oh my God. She was like big and thick. And I was like, holy mackerel. I was like, this got to be like a cartel wife or something. I don't know who that woman is. But
I think she was in our video for Bitcoin All the Way Up. I think that's her.
Who is she?
If you haven't seen
single?
that video,
I've seen that a long time ago.
I haven't heard from her for a long time, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyways, before we get started, do you want to tell people a little bit about yourself, as long as short as you want?
Oh, that's a easy little quick thing to do. How do you even start that, right?
Well, I just mean go ahead. I just meant quick, like people that might not have heard of you before. What's your quick blurb? You know what I mean? I know it's impossible, but
quick blurb. Well, I guess in this Matrix, this character I play is called Jeff Berwick. I've been doing Anarchast. I did 10 years ago with you. I forgot all about because I was drinking all the time. Been doing the Dollar Vigilante for 15 years now, which talks a lot about how the financial system, monetary system, it's all a scam and how we profit from it by getting into things like Bitcoin at $3. I've been doing Anarchapulco for 12 years. You've spoken at that a few times. I helped get Jones Plantation done by helping raise awareness for it. And a lot of people raised money for it, and I also donated a fair amount myself. Very, very pleased with that investment. That's so awesome. It's basically the best movie of our generation. What else am I doing? Oh, I guess I've gotten pretty into meditation and spiritual stuff over the last 10 years, and so that's I walk with my dogs and do videos.
Well, at first I wanted to thank you because besides the people that actually worked in the film, nobody's been more instrumental in getting that film done with the financing. And then now that it's been done, even more instrumental. You have promoted it so much and it's helped so much getting it out. And I really, really appreciate it. I mean, it's, I can't thank you enough.
Oh, same to you as well. Getting that done with such a small budget and making it look so amazing and doing it so well. There's so many little hidden Easter eggs in there and stuff. Incredible movie. I highly recommend it. I always have. Especially to people who are just normies, like normal people who, watch their television programming and stuff, because it actually is such a genius. Of course, Larkin Rose had the whole concept for it, but you created it into a form where it actually breaks people's mind control, which is so difficult to do. It's nearly impossible, But Jones Plantation proves it is possible. So if you sit down your normie family who vote and stuff, and just watch this movie, you'll actually notice them questioning things and changing after that, and they won't even know why. So it's like a reverse double hypnosis. It breaks the mind control of the bad guys who have hypnotized them into thinking this is all legitimate, and breaks them out of it using basically their sort of techniques. That's what actually things like movies are, is basically you go into almost like a trance-like state as you're watching it, and you're very suggestible. And they've known that and used that for, ever since the beginning. But this is like one of the first movies that actually does it back to them, and will wake people up to what this entire system is, which is basically just a system of slavery that everyone's been living under for a very long time, to the point that they don't even notice they're slaves anymore, and they actually love their slavery. So that movie is one of the only things, because as you know, like I had Anarchast and I thought, well, we should be able to fix this problem pretty quick. We'll just tell everyone exactly how it works and show them all the stats and all the numbers and how it's been done and how bad it is for them. No, it didn't work at all, because they're so programmed. So you have to do it in other ways. And Jones Plantation does it. So it's sheer genius. It's actually a work of genius that you and Larkin and everyone else involved put together.
Well, first of all, thank you. And I don't mean this I sincerely mean this, that it does make me believe in God, because the project, it's so much bigger than what I did. It's so impossible to get what we did, to just have anything that was even editable. Like when we screened it at in LA, the cinematographer showed up and he's like, dude, he's like, I was really good. He's like, I didn't think you had a film when we left set. He's like, I don't know how the hell I thought we had nothing. He's like, I didn't think I'd ever come out. And I was like, but it's just the way that, around the world. I mean, I had people in Ukraine by the film, Kazakhstan. Just weird. I mean, it's obviously America, USA, Canada, and especially places that are really under a lot of communism right now, like Northern Europe, Germany, Canada, a lot of Australia. But just people writing me from all over the world telling me, like, this blew my mind. First of all, this is not true what I'm about to say. This is not true, but I can't tell you how many people told me it's the best film they've ever seen. And I'm like, obviously that's not true, but just to hear that. And then the other side of that is there's like a 5% that absolutely hate it to the core of their being. Like the I've had the comments, like I posted one time, because there's a website that's got like reviews, I don't know, Letterboxd or something. And the one comment said, this is the best film I've ever seen. The whole world needs to see this. And right below it said, I hated this film so bad it made me physically ill.
Yeah, it's actually playing with people's mind control when you get those responses. So you will have people who are like, oh, thank you, this made everything so clear for me. But what actually happens is a lot of people they've been in this mind control their entire lives. Their parents were in it, their grandparents were in it, they've all been voting, they've all been paying their tithe, all this sort of stuff. And when you show it to them in a form that they can't turn away, one of the responses is anger and fear. And that comes back as, those comments. As an example, I wrote a book with Charlie Robinson, who who was in your other mockumentary called Barnum's World, called Controlled Demolition of the American Empire. And it's the same thing, 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. And then a guy will go, I hated this book so much I burnt it. It's like, you burnt it? Like, you burned the book? Like, how much did that trigger you? Holy cow.
Can you imagine taking the time to take the book outside, pour the lighter fluid on, throw it on, but make sure the fire's going? I mean, it's ridiculous.
Like, I've seen books that are pure garbage, like Karl Marx and stuff, but I don't ever have the idea I'm going to burn this, because it doesn't trigger me, because I'm like, well, this is clearly bullshit, right?
Right.
So I don't care. Like, who cares? Like, why would I even bother doing that? But they actually have a recognition that this is true, and they can't handle the truth, and that's how it comes out.
Well, you talked about Barnum World. Have you seen that yet? You can be honest.
Totally honestly, I've seen about half. I've been so busy. I've been traveling for like the last 3 months. But I saw the first half and it was awesome. I've got it in one of my 100 browser tabs here to finish watching it.
Yeah, no, it's not a homework assignment. I was just curious, but I look at the two films as like a diptych. So like, Jones Plantation is a feature fiction film, and Barnum World's a mockumentary, which is also fiction, but it's also a documentary. And I look at like Jones Plantation shows you the infrastructure of the prison system that we live in, and the creation of that. And then Barnum World shows you the tools and tricks they use to keep the game going. And, so the next one we want to do, which we're going to need a real budget for, it's called Crazy Eddie. That one's going to be outrageous. I mean, that one's going to be outrageous. But and I was thinking about it yesterday because we were like, we're going to need to get some real financing, and we're going to have investors. And Charlie and I have contacts at Blaze. And I was thinking about it last night, and I was like, you know what? Because there's a director named Jodorowsky. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He did Holy Mountain, El Topo. Really crazy director, but his films are so unique, and he got screwed by some producers in Hollywood, and they just stuffed his film. They owned it and they just stuck it on the shelf. So it was gone for like 10, 15 years. It started screening in the theaters in New York, and it was like becoming like this craze. Like audiences were like lined up, this is back during when theater was, and they just stuffed it and it just went away. And it's like, I'm really afraid with Crazy Eddie that could happen. So I'm thinking of trying to get a little more creative with the financing, maybe kind of do some sort of like a Indiegogo / on the Indiegogo offer investment, kind of thing. Anyways, let's get back to you. So, because I like I said, I've known you now for 10 years, and so where are you from? Where are you born and raised? What was childhood like?
Well, I was born in Canada. I grew up there. I didn't leave until I was almost 30, but I had plans to leave since the time I was about 12. When my grandpa took me to Disneyland in Anaheim in February. And so we left, it was minus 40, and we arrived there, in Celsius. So minus 40 in Celsius is minus 40 in Fahrenheit. The only reason I know that is because I lived in Canada. So we went from minus 40 Fahrenheit to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. And I was like, what? And it was like pitch black almost all day. Like there's hardly any sunlight in where I was from, a place called Edmonton in like the northern part of Canada, not the very north, but the northernmost city in Canada. That's a major city. And as soon as I saw that it could be nice weather in February, I started making plans when I was about 12 on how I was going to get out of Canada, and I eventually got out. But yeah, I grew up there. I was never, I was always different than everyone else. I recognized the schools were basically a prison for kids around when I was 10 years old. And I rarely ever went. The principal would actually call sometimes and he'd be like, your son hasn't been here for a month. My mom would be all upset. And so she would actually come down every morning around 7 a.m. to make sure I was up. And I'd left to go for my walk for 1 mile in minus 40 weather through the snow and and I'm not even joking, to school. So what I would do is I'd set my alarm for 7. I'd go get my shoes from upstairs and I'd go sleep in my closet so that she thought I had actually gone to school. So he got onto that and he called again another month later. He's like, he's still not here. And she's like, what? I've been checking every morning. And she found me in the closet. And I was like, Mom, I don't want to go to this thing. And so I actually did a deal. This is back in the 1980s. That's how old I am at this point. So I actually did a deal with the principal. I said, listen, this is all stupid. All your teachers are stupid. I am so much smarter than all of these people, including you. There's no reason I should be here. And he said, well, you need to get your badge of obedience, your diploma, or you'll never get a job. I was like, I don't want a job. I don't care about jobs, and all that kind of stuff. But I actually did a deal with my mom and the principal. I said, can I just go for the tests? I'll just go and pass the tests at the end of each year, and then I'll get my badge of obedience. And they actually agreed to it. So I'd spend all day on my computer because back then, I had something called a Unitron, which was an Apple II Plus clone from Vietnam that I found in the back of a comic book ad. My grandpa ordered it for me because we couldn't afford an Apple II Plus, which was $666, by the way. Interesting number that they came up with there with their apple from the Garden of Eden with the bite taken out of it and all that kind of stuff. And my grandpa soldered it together, and that was to me everything. I was like, this is what I'm all about, computers. I love this stuff. And I actually learned how to program it. I actually programmed something that was like the earliest version of Photoshop on an Apple II Plus clone with a monitor, which was just all black. It was black and white when I had it at the time. I called it, I wasn't very good at marketing, but I actually made like the earliest version of Photoshop ever before anyone even thought of doing it. And I called it Berwick Draw, not a very good name, and it never caught on and all that kind of stuff. And I became a hacker, and I was, my hacker name was Bilbo Baggins because I love Lord of the Rings. And I was hacking and, figuring out how to get past the phone system so we can make long distance calls, so we can get onto other bulletin board systems. This is before the internet. So that was what I wanted to do all day, every day. But I would actually go in for the test. So I'd actually read whatever the textbook was the night before. I'd just skim through it. I would write down as much of the stuff that I needed to memorize on my arms and my legs as possible, especially for things like social studies, because like a lot of that's dates and places and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And I would always go in and I always aimed to just get 50% on every test. I wanted to make a point that I didn't want to get more than 50%, but I wanted to get just enough to get the badge of obedience so I could leave. And I did. I got 50% in almost every class, even in, I actually did the social studies test, and I knew I had most of the answers because I remembered a lot of them, and I had the rest written on my arms and legs and stuff. So I knew it was like 60% of the mark was for the multiple choice, which was so super easy, like multiple choice, because you can already tell two of them are wrong, then you pretty much can get the right one pretty quick. So I knew basically, because they wouldn't actually let me leave. So I actually finished the multiple choice in about like 10 minutes. You're supposed to finish it in about an hour. And I said, can I leave? And they're like, no, you have to stay a minimum of like an hour. And so I was bored. And so I knew I had aced the multiple choice part. So I'm like, I got at least 50% on the multiple choice. And there was 40% of an essay. And I knew I didn't need any of that 40%. So I just like did some doodles and like, this is stupid and all this, fuck you and all this kind of stuff. And I got 50% in that class. And then I got my diploma, which I've actually never seen. I think they did mail it to me or something. I didn't go for any of it. And then my mom signed me up for the Navy though, right after, which I didn't think you could even do. So I get out of I finish and it's July 1st. I'm out of school, out of the government indoctrination camp. And my mom goes, well, I just signed you up for the Navy. I was like, what? And I thought,
that's crazy.
Well, I'll go, Yeah, I'll go. It was like Naval Reserve. So it was 2 months of basic training. And it was in a place in the prairies. So there's no boats. So we actually trained like Army guys. And I actually was always screwing with the officers and stuff and telling all the other soldiers they're all being mind controlled and they're slaves and all this.
Of course you were.
And I'd pull pranks on the officers all the time. And they actually came to me one day. And they said, listen, you can't be here. And I was like, good. And they're like, we want to offer you one of two things. Either you quit and leave, or we want to offer you to be an officer because you can't be, we're trying to mind control these people and you're breaking it, right? And I was like, and I said to them, how much does it pay to be an officer? And in Canada at the time, in Canadian dollars, it was like $30,000 a year. So about 20,000 US, so about $2,000 a month. And I was like, nah, screw it. And I left. And then I get back home and I was like, yeah, they kicked me out of the Navy. And she's like, well, good thing I just signed you up for community college. And I was like, community college? And I couldn't get into a university or anything because all I had was 50% on every single course. And she said, pick something you like. And here's an interesting story. I looked through the whole thing. I'm like, oh, this is all BS. It's like basket weaving and all this sort of stuff. But one of them was advertising and mass marketing. And something about that, I thought, well, that sounds interesting. Okay, I'll go do that. So I went in it. And again, I was like telling the teachers they're all idiots. I wasn't very, kind back then. I didn't have much of a filter. But like they were actually using Mac computers because the Apple Mac had come out at the time and they didn't even know how to use them. So I was like, why am I in this college that I'm teaching you how to use the computer, right? And I would use the computer to change all my grades and everything. And then they're always getting mad at me. And one day the guy, one day I showed up and I had a black eye because I had been partying the night before. I used to drink a lot. And I got into basically a fight and I was making fun of the teacher and he goes, that's it, you're out of here. And he kicked me out of my mass media course. That was 1988. And by 1998, I was running a media company worth about $240 million. So that's kind of what happened. Then I had the whole internet company, and it went through the tech bubble crash, and it went down and almost went bankrupt again. So I sold it for almost nothing after it went up a lot. And then I bought a sailboat and tried to sail around the world, and I sank it 1 year to the day after I bought it in El Salvador. And then I bought a backpack and tried to see the world via a backpack, and I went to about 100 different countries, living totally spontaneously. Like literally going to an airport and saying, what's your next flight? And whatever they said, I'd hop on it, even if I had no idea where it was, which happened a few times. I ended up making a movie with Jackie Chan in China. I was like at the red carpet. The producer paid me $5,000 a month to be his assistant, which just meant I was a white guy who went to parties with him with beautiful Asian women. So that was like an awesome job I had along the way, all these sort of things, all just living completely spontaneously. Then I eventually ended up in Mexico after my Thai girlfriend tried to kill me and held me hostage. And then I met my wife, and now 20 years? No, about 17 years later, I'm still here in Mexico and have a big family and meditate about 5 hours a day now.
Okay. I'm trying to think about which stories I want to jump down. But my question is, do you think the way that you are, I mean, you're the epitome of a maverick, right? Do you think that was just something you're born with? Or was there something that happened to you? Like, because I've been doing this, and my original idea with the show was to kind of like see if there was a pattern. And I'm just starting to realize there's just people who are just born this way. I'm starting to think that that's the way it is. Because, I mean, there's different things, you know. I had always had horrible, like it's experiences that we have that play into who we were anyway, I think. But I mean, what do you think?
Well, all I can say is that I've always seen the world very differently than everyone around me. And I can always see the BS and all the lies and how this is wrong, how stupid that is, and all that sort of stuff. And I wasn't afraid to say it or to show it, basically. So yeah, I've kind of been like this pretty much my whole life. I would say I've kind of changed recently, though. So I was very rebellious most of my life. In fact, like I'd actually try to do things that people didn't want me to do. You know, that sort of a thing. Like whatever people didn't want me to do, I'd do it. That sort of a thing. Like a very rebellious sort of nature. And I think that just came from me seeing the world. I see basically most people as, and not to like put them down or anything, but I see them as basically being non-player character, almost just mind-controlled slaves. I've said that my whole life, actually. I've called people mind-controlled slaves my whole life, even before I understood how they were being mind-controlled and how they ended up that way, but I could see it. So yeah, I was basically like that all my life. I've never had a problem going against the grain. One thing I have had is a lot of confidence in myself. Basically, since the time I can remember even thinking, I always knew I can do anything I want to do. I will do anything I want to do. It's not even a question. And that's it, basically. So I don't know where that came from, but I've always had that. I've never, people are like, how do you just go and do this or do that? It's like, well, I know I'll always be able to figure it out. And always, I can handle anything. I can do anything. This sounds kind of braggadocious, but basically that's how I felt. And then the interesting thing is in the last few years, I've become incredibly spiritual, and I've started to really do a lot of the meditative work and stuff like that. I've done psychedelics, I've done hypnotherapy. And I've actually reached a point now where I don't feel this rebellious part of me anymore. It's kind of more gone now. It might not appear that way to some people, but now I'm more just completely connected to source and basically completely present with almost everything I do now. And I don't feel a need to attack the system as much as I used to, which obviously I did with most of the things I was doing, right? Dollar Vigilante, attacking the financial monetary system, Anarchast, attacking the governmental sort of stuff, Anarchapulco, same stuff. I don't feel that need anymore because I feel so connected, and I can actually see what this entire experience is now. And it's actually basically all an illusion. This actually isn't real. I know it sounds crazy to a lot of people, but that is actually the case. Now, it feels real. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, this feels very real. I get it. And if, someone punched me in the face right now, I'd feel it. It's real in that sense. But when you do enough meditation, which I was doing up to hours and hours a day for years now, you get out of that consciousness level and you can get to a higher consciousness level where you can actually see what this all is. And basically, this is an experience we're having. And it's all basically in the mind of God. So when I came to that realization, I began to not feel any sort of need to rebel or fight anything, because there's nothing actually to rebel or fight against necessarily. And that's not to say that things like Jones Plantation and all the stuff that I do isn't good or even very, very positive thing. I think it is. But I don't feel the need to attack that as much anymore. I feel more the need to live completely how I am and do the work, continue to do the work on myself, which I still do every single day, to deprogram my mind, because we're all programmed through everything in society, through everything imaginable, to deprogram that, to reprogram it, to connect more with source. And that is a lot more of the direction I'm in now.
So I when you said like we're trying to bring truth, like even though we know what's going on and we know that this is, when you say it's not real, I like to say like it is real, but it's just a tiny portion of what's actually real. Like, because a lot of Eastern mystics say it's not real, you're not real. And I think it's like a bad misinterpretation of their language. Like, it is real in a sense where I'm talking to you, you're Jeff Berwick, you grew up, you had this experience, you were in the military, blah, 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 Jackie Chan. But it's not even close to the whole story. That's, you know what I mean? And
well, when I say it's not real, what I kind of mean is, like, you have dreams, right?
Oh man, I was going to bring this up today. It's so funny you mentioned this. Listen, for the last 2 or 3 years, I don't even know. I've got to get one of those things and see what my deep sleep is. I don't even think I deep sleep. My dreams are so insane and so it's the craziest thing every single night. And it's so wild. And are you going to talk about consciousness and how it proves that you're not your body through your dreams?
Well, what I would say is, how is that not real and this is real? Because that when you're in that dream, that is, if like yours are super intense, so you probably feel like it is as real as can be when you're having them, right?
Let me put it this way. You know who Sam Hyde is? The crazy comedian guy. He's a comedian, troll. He's got a station called MD TV. He's a pretty interesting guy. But anyways, for some reason, last night he was in my dream. Him and his like right-hand man comedy guy. Okay. That's not even the point. So all my dreams usually revolve around us. We're in some sort of scenario and it shifts and moves. I mean, I wake up and then I go back in, and in my dream, he had a band. They had a heavy metal band, and they had like a hit song, and like 3 or 4 times in the dream, they played the song, the entire song. And it was like a good song. I couldn't repeat it for you if I tried, but I'm like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, what's going on there? You know what I mean? And so, I don't know. That's what I'm
saying though. That's an entirely whole experience you had in your own mind.
Right.
So who's to say that this isn't that as well? It basically is. This is about as real as a dream, in my opinion. Now, it feels like a really long dream, and it seems to be quite, it seems to like really stay with you for a long period of time. But other than that, it's not that much different than a dream. So when I say it's not real, what I'm saying is it's not base reality. We're having an experience the same way we have an experience when we dream. And so that's what I mean by that.
Well, the only thing I would say about that is that with the dreams, I have no control yet. Now I'm going to start doing some work so I can lucid dream, which is when you can control yourself in the dream. And I'll talk to you after
awesome.
that.
I've managed to do it
Have you?
I managed to do that a few times. Yeah.
I did it once for like 2 seconds, and I was the most incredible feeling, and it woke me up. It was such a great feeling. I was like, damn it, But
it takes a lot of work, but
yeah, it does. And there's a way to do it when you ask yourself if you're dreaming during the day and all that stuff, and write down your dreams. But you're also dreams is God talking to you and trying to help you solve problems. Not always, but there's moments like, what was that? And I think so. As soon as I wake up, I think about what happened, and I'm like, why did that? Because there's always a moment where I know something weird was happening. The other thing is this is more steady. Whereas like I'm Andrew, I got this house. Like when I go in my dreams, it's game. I mean, one time I had one where me and my daughter were in the aliens attacked, and they literally put on a light show for us, and they played this crazy ass music, Jeff. It went on for a long time. I don't know, what is that? But one thing I was going to say is, so this is a simple way to put it, is that we're who we are is consciousness, and we're just having this experience inside this body. And so there's 2 ways to prove that. And the first way is that if you think you're your brain and your mind and you're this body, all you have to do is close your eyes. People that think that, and just tell them to tell me what the first thought that you have. And they'll realize that their brain is insane and it's going crazy, and they'll just, okay, I just saw a car drive by. And I just say, who saw the car drive by? Like, if who saw the car drive by? Is there 2 of you in there? Like, you know what I mean? But the second thing is the dreams, because when you're dreaming, you're still there, but Andrew's comatose. The body is just laying there dead. But I'm still there. I'm roaming around. I don't know where. I still don't figure that one out yet. But what's your thought on that? Consciousness.
Well, I agree. That's the only thing that actually exists is consciousness. It's what creates all of this, and it's incredible. And this is all created essentially by us. And when I say by us, I don't mean by you or me, Jeff, by us. So the person who watches, the thing that watches our mind. So you've meditated for a while, so you can actually sit there and to an extent watch your mind. So when you do that, you just have to ask yourself, well, if I'm watching my mind, then who am I? Because I'm not my mind. And you're not your mind, and you're not your body. And what you are is consciousness. And it basically, like, I don't know exactly what all this is, how it all works. Right. Like, it's mind-blowing. Like what intelligence can create this entire world? And by world, I mean like every single thing. And look at how incredible it is. Like even your own body is doing like 1 billion things every second that you have nothing to do with. It's just running itself. Like everything's a miracle. Every single thing's a miracle. The fact that we're talking right now is a miracle. The fact that we're still alive is a miracle. The fact that we're alive at all is a miracle. It's all a miracle. It's all a creation in basically consciousness. Now, how and why and what and all that kind of stuff, I don't know. But that's basically what this is. And that's the only thing that's ever existed, the only thing that ever will exist. And it's the only thing that ever exists, even now. And in this, what I call the matrix, where this is like a secondary or like not a base level reality. So in this matrix, we have things like time and space, which don't make really any sense. And it's funny because it's actually always now. It's never any time other than now. What time is it right now? Now. And now you could say, well, but it wasn't now before. But what is it now? Now. It's always now. So it's an actual construct. And so is space itself. In order to actually have this experience, you have to make up some false constructs and stuff like that. So those are some of the things that we've created for ourselves, to have these experiences, to have these learning experiences, which can go on over thousands of lifetimes. And it's all tied together. And there's like all these records of it all. It's incredible. Like, this is so beyond incredible. And to an extent, it's also a true man show, which, there's that movie Truman Show where the guy doesn't know he's basically, everyone else is like an actor in a show that they've got the cameras on him and he doesn't even know. I think everyone's living in their own true man show. And the true man show is actually so unbelievably designed. It'll give you incredible challenges, like brutal challenges, like where you feel so depressed or so sad that you think you're going to die because something happened and all that kind of stuff. But then something happens and you get out of it, and then something beautiful happens. You have this beautiful moment. It's all for you, and it's actually all set up for you. And it's through this unbelievable intelligence, which is, a lot of people are all excited about artificial intelligence. They're like, oh, wow, we're so advanced. We've got artificial intelligence. First of all, it's artificial, and real intelligence is 1 trillion times more than that. You can create artificial intelligence inside the incredible intelligence that there is. That's how incredible it is. So that's kind of how I see things.
Yeah, I had something I wanted to jump on, and I forgot what it was now. I just got mesmerized by what you're saying. Yeah, I agree with you. The thing is that, with the meditation, the people out there that are sort of put off by Eastern stuff, fine, that's fine. I can understand that in some levels. There's a lot of sketchy. When you're meditating, you're just praying. So that's how you should look at that. Don't get all thrown off by the East-West thing. You're just praying. That's really what I'm doing. I'm just trying to contact God, or I'm listening for, it gives you information. And you're just connecting with God. That's all you're doing.
Yeah. I would say praying is more speaking to God and meditating is more listening. So essentially, I do both. Is really what I do. The listening is super important. That's the thing that most people don't do. And you have to just be really as quiet as can be. And it takes a lot of time, a lot of devotion, and a lot of work to do it. But if you can get to an incredibly relaxed state, you actually will start receiving signs and signals and messages and all kinds of stuff. Some people, the craziest thing I've ever heard is when people say meditation is evil. It's like, first of all, meditating is just being present. That's all it is. So is being present evil? I don't think so. In fact, that's what I would say if I was running a control system that doesn't want people to realize who and what they really are, is tell them that if they try to even listen or connect with the true source creator, that it's evil, right? And so that's what they do. What do you got to do? Well, you're supposed to go down to the church there where there's a pedophile guy, and you're supposed to give him some money. And if you ever do anything bad, you just go tell him, and then everything's fine. It's like, okay. And then, if you say you believe in this one thing and you eat his body and you drink his blood, which doesn't sound very satanic at all to me, then you can go to heaven. It's like, no, there was a guy named Jesus once, and he told you it's all inside of you. And that's truly the case. And that's the thing that most people still don't get. And that's why this world's getting so insane. Because I don't know if this world's ever had so many people so disconnected from source. They're living completely materialistically, living for the pleasures, the jouissance in this matrix, whether it's food or sex or sugar or caffeine or alcohol or drugs or whatever it is, sports or whatever it is, movies. Not that all movies are bad or anything like that, but people distract themselves with those sort of things so that they don't actually go inside and listen. And that's all it actually really takes.
Yeah. I mean, sitting down. I mean, when you say prayer, I don't want to. It's not my business what your process is or my process is. But I generally pray, say a prayer, and then I meditate. So you're right. It's like talking and listening. And I've heard that when people say it's evil, and I'm like, and there's people out there that. It's funny you brought up because I decided yesterday I'm going to get a Bible and I'm actually going to sit down and read the thing. I'm not one of these people that thinks, and I'm not saying you are either, that thinks like all church is evil and everything, but it is obviously, like you look at the Catholic Church, whatever it was, when the church was born, it was just the church. And then it split off and became this centralized Pope thing. I mean, I grew up Catholic. I don't know what you did. Sort of. I mean, I was raised in a Catholic thing. You said you had to walk a mile to school. I used to have to walk a mile to CCD, which was like this Catholic school learning thing. Every Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, I'm from Pittsburgh, and I still have to walk a mile in the snow, just like you. And it was miserable. I hated it so bad. But okay, I'm getting sidetracked. So let's get into that. So we were talking about the evil of the world, and it does feel like the before times, the COVID horse shit, and now we're in the after times, and things have really changed. And a lot of people are posting stuff like that. Like I just saw this video yesterday, some dude, there was like some ghetto black guy who was talking about a video of this white country guy, and they were both talking about how everything is so odd now, and how it's going so fast, and it feels so different, and everything doesn't make any sense anymore. They were both on the same page with it, and it does. It's like the evil. It's almost laughable at this point. I mean, the stuff that, I don't want to get specific to politics and stuff, but the stuff that Trump is doing with the Epstein and the pedophile, and they caught that pedophile that worked for like Netanyahu, and then they helped usher him back to Israel. It's like, what in the fuck is going on? And I know you talk about a lot about the apocalypse. What's going on right now? Tell me, let's talk some apocalypse shit.
Well, when you talk about how things seem to be really changing, I think there is a major thing going on, which I call the apocalypse, which just means the lifting of the veil. So, when I first started talking with Anarchast and Dollar Vigilante about the Federal Reserve and about how governments are a criminal mafia organization and all that sort of stuff, that was actually really radical back 15 years ago. A lot of people wouldn't even want to be associated with me for having these thoughts and all that kind of stuff. Now it's become fairly normal. And ever since the COVIDs, a lot of people have woken up. It's like, holy cow, like, basically everything's run by the same people, and they control everything. They control the governments, they control the media, and they're trying to kill us with a bioweapon right now, and chemtrails, and fluoride, and then the 80 vaccines they tell you to pump into your kids, which is truly heinous. So this is basically the apocalypse, in my opinion. People are waking up, but everything's becoming a lot more obvious now, which you're starting to notice, right? Like the whole Trump thing with the Epstein stuff. Like, it's just obvious. All these people are in the same club. They all do. They're not even
trying anymore. They're not even trying anymore.
No,
like, they don't even.
I even wonder if the reason they're not trying is because I think they've won, which I think in some ways they have. They've actually got nanotech in everyone now. This is a whole different rabbit hole. This is that's what's in the chemtrails. That's what's in the food. They've been doing it for lots of different ways. This has been done by DARPA. They actually have it in almost everyone now, and they can actually communicate with it via your Wi-Fi signal and your cell phone and stuff like that. So people are actually almost already being controlled by the AI system, which is what all these people want to bring in, and that's what they want to do. They're kind of like what you could call satanic, sort of. They want to destroy everything created by God and stuff like that, and they want to turn it into something it wasn't. That's where the whole transgender, the transhuman, Elon Musk is huge into that, is trying to turn everyone into not even being human anymore, and then control them via the AI and the 5G and the Starlink, via the nanotech that's already in them. So they might actually be like, well, we have already won. All these people are basically already, like, look, most of them are actually quite sick or dead already from the lethal injections, and that's going to continue. So I think they think they've already won, so they don't even mind. And we've talked a lot about this. Like Larkin Rose, I remember we talked on Anarchast like 15 years ago about at some point the mask comes off the government, when you can actually, they don't even try to act like they're doing something good anymore, and the mask comes off, and that's what we're seeing right now. They've got a lot of people fooled, though. They're incredible with their mind control. They've got a lot of the right-wing people now cheering for martial law, military in the streets. They're cheering for tariffs, which is what caused the U.S. to be born, is when the government at the time did a 2% tariff on tea, and they killed everyone in the government and started a new one, which turned into today's monstrosity. But you've got all the right-wing people cheering for this stuff now, and they're cheering for the guy who's bringing in like Palantir to track everyone. It's a kill system to get them all enslaved, and a lot of them are actually cheering it on, which is so incredible. So we live in an incredibly interesting time. It's like this part of the video, I call this a 3D video game, because that's basically what it is. Like, we are not this character. We're playing this character, but we're not that. So we're playing the character inside the video game is how I kind of look at it. And this is the most interesting end to a video game ever. I can't wait to see how it all ends. There's actually a lot of positive stuff going on, though, too. There's people like Christoph Melchizedek, who's actually deconstructing their matrix system on the other dimensions, which is a whole other topic. This stuff gets crazy. The more you find out, the crazier it gets. But he's actually deconstructing a lot of it right now. Not just him, but some other people and a lot of other dimensional beings, including Source Creator, are actually saying that's enough, and they're shutting these guys down now. So that's actually happening. So we're having this, and all that stuff's going to collapse over the next few years, and that's what I've been talking about, the Dollar Vigilante. That's all going to happen. A lot of people are going to be like, most people are going to lose their jobs. They're going to lose that anyway due to the AI. Almost every job's going to be done by AI soon. That's why they're trying to get everyone chipped, put them into smart cities, and get them on universal basic income. And basically, as Yuval Harari of the World Economic Forum said, they want to basically just get them on drugs and playing video games, and that's what they're going to be doing with them. Most people are already doing that voluntarily. So incredibly interesting time. But to me, it's all just an experience, and I'm playing my part in it, my role on this stage. But am I worried about it? Not at all. Not at all, because I know this isn't base reality. This is like, would you worry about a dream? You do in the dream, right? That's the thing. When you're in a dream and a tiger jumps out, you feel scared, like as scared as you would right now. But when you're actually lucid dreaming, which that's basically what I'm doing right now, I'm lucid dreaming in this part of the dream, then you don't worry about anything. Now, of course, a tiger could jump out of the woods. Well, probably not. I'm in Mexico, right? But a bobcat could jump out of the woods right now, break through my window, and attack me. Yes, that could happen. And if that happened for at least a short amount of time, I'd probably feel some fear. It would just be natural. There'd be adrenaline pumping, and I'd be like, what is this bobcat doing? I'm trying to do an interview. A bobcat jumped through my window. And I'd probably for a few seconds be in a fear state. But as soon as that adrenaline wore off and everything, I'd be like, whoa, that was incredible. What a video game. That felt so real. That's basically how I look at everything.
Totally related story, but completely out of touch with what we're talking about. This like 6 months ago, I was on the phone with a friend of mine, and I was outside. It was late, so I started walking towards the gate of the place that I live in, and I'm talking blah 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 blah. And there's a wall next to the entrance of the gate, and I walk up, and I'm like, yeah, da, da, and I see a cat, and I go and I reach up, and I get like from here to there, just like the cat's head, and then I stop and look.
Man.
It's a full-grown mountain lion, like a full-grown tail's like, and I was like, oh. I was like, sorry, dude. And it was like, it gave me like the most peaceful energy. I knew it wasn't going to attack me, luckily. But that was crazy. Anyway, sorry, just a side note there. But so if we talk about what people should do, we could talk about pragmatic stuff like getting land and all that stuff. And we could talk about that. And that's easier said than done sometimes. But I want to go back because in I think it was 2020. That was when we went down to the Anarchapulco and started interviewing people, and that's when I met Larkin. That's how Jones Plantation was born. You were there, and you had a glass of wine in your hand the entire time, and you were smoking weed and drinking the entire time. And I remember seeing you, and I mean, I was still drinking then too, but and I remember like, I wouldn't say it wasn't like an evil darkness, but there was like an emptiness, like I can't think of the adjective. It was there was like a blankness to you. Like you were just like, you just weren't there. You weren't interested. You were just kind of like there. And then you quit alcohol, and your transformation has been incredible. So then I saw you a few years later when we screened Jones Plantation, and you were sober, and you were like glowing. Like it was unbelievable. And it actually, because me and you have had pretty similar drinking habits. We don't fuck around. Like when we do things, we do them, And so like you've been an inspiration for me to stop drinking alcohol, because I didn't think, like at certain points I was like, this is no way I'm drinking alcohol. I grew up, started drinking when I was 12. I'm not going to go into it, but and that is, I think, how important is that? Obviously, it's important, but like, can you talk about like how important that is for people to get their soul and their mind right and get sober, or whatever you would call it? And your experience.
I would say, yeah, I've Like we have a very similar alcohol past. I basically was almost constantly, not constantly, but like drinking a lot for most of my adult life. And I thought I was having a pretty good time, but I really, what I was doing was, well, first of all, what it did was, when I had those drinks, I would stop thinking, like how I normally think, all my fears and all this sort of stuff. And I'd actually be in kind of like a meditative state. And so I would love that. And I'd keep trying to get back to that. But I was doing it by drinking poison. That was basically just shutting my mind off. And that, of course, has incredibly bad negative effects for you over time. And really what it does is it lowers your vibration. So the thing that I thought I was using alcohol for was to reach basically the sort of meditative state that I'm mostly in now. But I was doing it by drinking poison and lowering my vibration. So I was actually, because I also believe you create reality. Like, so none of this is real and you actually create it all with your own mind. So if you were in a lower vibrational state and you're drinking this poison, which is, that's what it does, you will create horrible things. And that, you know, when I was drinking, all these horrible things would always happen. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize until afterwards that I was actually creating them in one way or another. I was manifesting them. And so as I went down this path of doing this work, I started off with ayahuasca. Then I ended up doing a boga. And it actually got me out of my depression and out of all my head stuff for a couple months. And then I started meditating. Then I started doing hypnotherapy, which was incredible. Helped get a lot of those problems out of my mind that were causing me all these problems. And then it reached a point where I actually was like, well, I'm pretty good now, so I guess I can just keep drinking, and now I'm just going to be a good drinker. No, it doesn't work that way. I'd lower my vibration, and what I noticed was I couldn't meditate. Like my meditations were so bad, like it was painful. Just trying to still my mind while it's all going like this because I'm like still hungover and feeling bad and all this kind of stuff. So that's when I actually decided, that's it, I have to stop this. And it wasn't actually, I know for everyone's different. It was actually Max Egan was in my house. It was New Year's Eve, and I drank like 2 bottles of wine that night, and I got very manic and like almost suicidal. So Max woke up in the morning, and I was still there in my office drinking like my 3rd bottle of wine. And saying how I wanted to kill myself and all this kind of stuff. And Max Egan stuffed a weed brownie in my mouth, and it knocked me out. I went in my bed and I ended up crying a lot. I was just like letting stuff out. And I did that for like 2 days. And when that was done, I had no interest whatsoever in drinking alcohol. Like if you would have said, do you want to drink? No. Like, no. It was just gone. Not to say that I didn't have to learn over the next year or so how to actually socialize without alcohol. That was a little difficult. Just even going to a dinner with people, like I'd never gone without having a glass of wine. And I didn't know how to actually be happy at that dinner with them. So I actually had to go through just getting through it and learning how to be happy doing it. Now I'm totally fine. It was just a learning process on how to be social without the alcohol, but I've never even had a thought of ever wanting, I told you this at Anarchapulco, I think this year, I said, if you offered me $1 million to have like 10 shots of tequila tonight, or, you know, enough to get me drunk. Even if you offered me 100 million or 1 billion or $1 trillion, I wouldn't do it. And the reason is because where I've gotten myself to now is 1 million times better than anything, even having $1 trillion. And I just don't want any of that stuff anymore. I want this. And that's where you get to when you do enough of this work, that you're not feeling like, oh, I'm like limiting myself or having to use willpower to not drink alcohol and stuff. No, you actually reach a point where the idea of actually putting that in your body sounds insane to you. Like, why would I want to stop what's going on right here and all of a sudden become like this and do some stupid stuff and regret it tomorrow? No, and feel like shit tomorrow. No thanks. Just not interested whatsoever. So that was sort of my thing with alcohol. It was over many years though that I was trying to cut down. I thought you could actually cut down. What I realized afterwards is that you really can't. It's an all or nothing sort of a thing. Because even if you just cut down, what you're doing is you're telling your conscious mind that you're like, hurting yourself or you're limiting yourself and you're feeling bad about that, then you're also still poisoning yourself a little bit. And that still lowers your vibration a little bit. And so the next day you'll have a little less willpower and a little less. And over a year, you're right back to drinking all the time and you can't control it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's sort of my history with alcohol. And you mentioned all my changes after that. That was a part of it for sure. And definitely a big part. That changed everything. Once I had the hard stop on the alcohol and I got really deep into the meditation, that was the massive game changer. And I have to say, it probably took me a few years to fully recover from the alcohol. What I mean by that is I could tell that now, from where I am now, after about 4 or 5 years of not drinking, I am so much better than I was after 1 year of not drinking. It actually takes you years to heal your mind, to heal your body from all that poison. And that's why it's actually hard for a lot of people, because they see that and they think, well, if I just drink the poison again, then maybe I won't have to go through all this pain. I would say just keep going and it eventually gets better. And just that is not the way. And it's definitely not the way right now, the way this world is. If you're doing that kind of stuff right now, you're going to have a really bad time. We're going to go through a lot of chaos the next few years. Everything's going to collapse. Most people are going to die. And I'm not even joking. If you're like not, you basically almost have to be like a kung fu monk right now. You got to be getting up in the morning. Like I do 5 hours every morning. I'm in the cold plunge pool. I'm in the steam room. I'm in the massage chair doing hypnotherapy while inhaling hydrogen gas. I'm on the treadmill. I'm doing the weights. I'm doing a Tesla bath. I'm in the hyperbaric chamber. And,
Jeez.
A lot of it's not like hard. Yeah, it sounds hard. It's not, because I'm almost always present.
Sounds like a
and
lot.
I don't have all this. It sounds like a lot. I just actually had a call where I have a thing called the Vigilante Insiders Club where I have a couple calls a month, and I was explaining to them how I do my 5 hours a day of this stuff. And here's the funny thing. I've been doing 5 hours a day for the last 3 weeks because I'm at my place in Acapulco where I have all my stuff. And there was not one day in the entire 3 weeks where when the 5 hour period was up that I didn't feel like, I wish I didn't have to go do something right now. Like I'd rather just continue doing this. I'm basically almost like in an ecstatic state the entire time because I've fixed the mental. So there's not all these little things coming in. Oh, got to worry about this. Oh, what about this? And you're stupid and all this. I don't have that. So I'm just like feeling good. And all these things I'm doing are making me feel even better to a point where after I do all of it, it almost feels like I'm on ecstasy. The pill, if you've ever done that. It feels like I've taken like a half tab of ecstasy every single day with no side effects, and I feel that way for most of the day. And it never feels like work. It always feels awesome. So that's taken me a long time. That was years and years of work to get there, but now that I'm there, it is like the best thing ever, and you couldn't offer me anything to change it. Yeah,
that's, like I said, you're one of my biggest inspirations as far as the alcohol goes. You know what I mean? Just because I know the dark place. When I saw you, I know the dark place you were in, and to see you get out of it and to see where you're at now, that's all I think about. Because first of all, we're living on this slave plantation, we're living on Jones Plantation. All you need to know about alcohol is it's that what drug is everywhere, and they want you on that. They want to take your life from you. It's really demonic. And what happens is
it's called spirits for a reason.
Yeah. And I started drinking when I was 12.
Or booze. Like booze, like a ghost, booze. Oh. Spirits. The actual meaning of the word alcohol is an Arabic word, which means demons or something like that.
It's like an owl.
It's all right there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You don't, if whatever you're going through when you're young and you're having a bad childhood or whatever, you just stop dealing with it. And so then you just put it down. So every time it comes around, you just drink it away. And I won't beat up on alcohol too much more, but you mentioned something earlier. Oh man, I forgot what it was. Anyways, yeah. So you don't deal with it. And so once you stop, like you said, you have to start dealing with that stuff. It's going to come up again, and you've got to deal with it. You've got to go through it, and you've got to face it and transcend it. And it's a very sticky thing. Like, I'm not at your level right now as far as being free. Like, I still get urges, which are insane. It doesn't make any sense. I know this stuff's horrible. And I'm grateful for how much I abused it, because I would have never quit if I didn't go through the hell of after I'm done drinking. Once the abuse, I had my little abuse session, the hell that I was in afterwards. I'm really thankful for that, because if I just kind of drank with my friends and got a hangover, I would just live my life with a little ball and chain on my ankle and just deal with it. But I couldn't do it anymore. And so I'm really thankful for that. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah. So anyways, congratulations. I'm glad you got here. It's a miracle.
Yeah, me too. It's awesome. Yeah. Just keep doing the work. That's, the meditation. You got to really look at your traumas and stuff. And it's hard. Like, it took me years to actually face a lot of them. And they'll pop up out of the blue when you're in a meditation sometimes. All of a sudden this feeling will come in, like sadness or fear or something. And usually, like for years, I would actually run away from it. So I'd have this feeling, this intense feeling as I'm meditating. And I'd like try to shake it off and try to like think about something else and try not to look at it. And that's kind of like a normal reaction to it, because it feels so bad. Eventually, though, I got to the point where once I felt it again, I actually recognized that what I need to do is to actually just feel it. And what I would do is like get focused enough. And you can't do this when you're drinking, right? You got to like be doing this every day for a long time to get like almost like a kung fu sort of a person. And then when it pops up, because it always pops up at the weirdest, strangest moments, to be aware of it and not run away from it, and then to go through feeling it. And that can be like, minutes of actual feeling, like true fear for like minutes. Like, like I'm not very expressive. I don't scream or anything, but I actually feel that like, like my body's all going crazy. I just breathe. I just say, stick with it, stay, breathe. And after a few minutes, you get it out, and then it's gone. And that one thing might have been what causes you every single time to want to have that drink, right? So once you get those things out, then you don't have those things anymore. So it's just a matter of continuing to do the work. And it like for years, it was very hard for me. For at least 3 years, meditating to me was like going into a room to get the crap kicked out of me physically and mentally. And I mean, like, Mike Tyson might as well have been in there waiting to beat me up for an hour. That's basically how I felt mentally, because I'd have to feel these things. I have to look at them. And I'd come out just like wrecked, like exhausted. But I'd always go back the next day. And I think the reason is I could tell that I had to just do it. I knew if I didn't do it, I was going to end up back where I was, and I didn't want to be there. And a big part of the reason for me personally is having a family. If I didn't have a family, I'd probably be dead like 10 years ago. I just would have drank myself to death because I didn't have anything to live for. But once I had a family and then the dogs and everything, then I had something to live for. And that gave me the power, you could say, like just the thought of my daughter and seeing her, like see me turn into this drunk loser was too hard for me. I could not do it. I had to do the work, and I did. And it's not easy, but it's the only thing to do. It's like really the way I look at life, there is absolutely nothing to do except for one thing: do that work, because nothing else matters compared to it. And if you do that work, you can have and do anything you want. And I wouldn't use that as a reason to do it. Like some people might have in their head, oh, if I do this work, then I can have like a $400 million yacht and like 1,000 girls on the yacht, women on the yacht. What you'll actually realize as you do the work is that that's all part of the matrix, and you'll actually get above that. But there's nothing else to do but do that work. Because also, if you don't do that work, you're actually going to be manifesting and creating all these horrible things forever. Basically, as long as you're alive, you're going to continue to do it until you do that work. So there's like whatever you're doing, like if you've got a job somewhere and you've worked there for 20 years, you're going to get your pension in 10 years. First of all, no, you're not. Secondly, if your life is not great, you should basically just quit everything. And I'm not, necessarily saying you should, but this is what I would do. I would find a way to quit everything and just focus on this stuff for a while. Because once you get this stuff good, then you can create anything you want. And you'll actually find you don't want to create the things that you thought you wanted to create because you see them for what they are and you see them as actually distractions in the matrix, which you don't really care about as much anymore. Not to say that I don't care a little bit, but I see them for what they are now. And so all the things that I thought I wanted, I don't really care about anymore. And all the things that I didn't even know existed, like actual true love, like real love with a family, because I never saw that with my family when I was young. That's the stuff that it's the only thing I really care about. But you can't do, there's no reason to do anything. If you haven't done this work yet, don't bother doing anything else. You're just going to be wasting your time because you're actually going to be manifesting all kinds of bad stuff because you haven't gotten yourself cleared out mentally and even spiritually. And so you'll just continue to create bad and horrible things. You might have some good times. There's always some good times and stuff, but you're going to create some bad stuff because you haven't fixed yourself. You haven't got your programming out and reprogrammed yourself and connected. So there's really no point to do anything except for this work.
Yeah, my daughter was the one that really snacked me out of the matrix because, I'm still suffering from I was in the mind control and I was a terrible boyfriend. I didn't know how to pick a right mate. I had a horrible childhood on that level and on many levels. And I think I didn't want kids. They're going to get away with my fun. And then she came out, and literally when she was born, I was like, what the hell have I been doing? And then I started to reverse engineer my life. But yeah, and so now I'm trying to, when you get off course, like in life, if you go off course, just a quarter of a degree, if you're at point A and you're supposed to go to point B, that's your mission in life. That's God's mission for you. And you just go off a quarter of a quarter of a quarter of a quarter. You end up way down in the storm somewhere. And it's very difficult to right the ship. And that's what I've been doing. And, I was going to say earlier is that you had mentioned, like, you get that pain and you just want to drink again. That's one of the biggest challenges where it's sticky, whereas my mind will say, I'll get these urges that I've got to deal with. And it'll say, man, if you could get through this urge tonight, but you're not gonna be able to get through it tomorrow. Or, you can't keep doing this. Like, just go drink and get it over with. That's a big one. And you said years, and that worries people. But I say, like, it's like, imagine going to the gym and you start working out. It takes 2 or 3 years to where you're really gonna, you could speed it up, but doing certain things, but it's actually really fun in the beginning, because in the beginning, when you go to the gym, you improve so much, so fast, and then at the end, it's like it's like golfers, they get really good. And then it's like so close between the pros and the guys that just can't make the pros. And so that's kind of what happens when you start working out for 3 or 4 years, you start to get like to this like expert level. But like at the beginning, it's fun because the climb is fun. So that's how I would embrace it. I wouldn't, just people like it, because sometimes people get overwhelmed. They go 3 or 4 years of this, like, no, just kind of enjoy it and embrace it. No.
Yeah, really just look at it as it's so cliche, but it's totally true. One day at a time.
That's right.
And so when you wake up, what am I going to do today? I'm going to do this. That's it. You've already done it. If you just do that again tomorrow, do that the next day, you'll do it forever. And that's really what it is. And what happens is with things like alcohol or all kinds of stuff, everything in the matrix, all the distractions, people will get distracted and lose their focus on stuff like that. So just keep that one focus. And that's why I actually like to do most of my stuff in the morning, because you can't have something that comes up and you can't do it, right? Whereas if you have it at night, maybe something will happen during the day and all that kind of stuff. So, just every single day, just do that one thing and just keep that focus. And all I can tell you is it's so worth it. There's actually everything else in this world is worth nothing. Having what I kind of have right now is worth everything. There's no monetary figure you can put on it. But you're going to have to probably do a lot of hard work to get there. But just keep focused and make that your one thing that you just do. Like even just meditate every day, and do that kind of work. Like try to figure out what your problems are, or your traumas. Why is that voice saying? Why is that? Your voice is crazy, man. He's like, oh, you think you can do it today? Yeah, good luck doing it. Holy cow! Like, wow. Yeah. So figure out where's that voice coming from, right? And you can do that in meditation. So you just watch it. And when you, or even think about it, like, what is that voice? And just sit there and wait. Your subconscious, or even the creator, that's basically all the same thing, will actually just pop something into your head where you'll see where it came from. And it might actually bring up one of those feelings I talked about. And you might have to go through feeling it and all that kind of stuff. But that's basically what it is, getting control of your own mind, and getting all the programming out. And once you get to the levels where I'm at the moment, you can actually do anything. You can, like, I've been manifesting things for fun. Like you can, like this becomes easy mode video game once you do all this work. And if you don't do the work, it's just always going to have major, massive problems. And so why keep doing them? There's really no reason. But, you know, every single person, it's their choice what they want to do. But I would just suggest doing work like this and you know, being, you know, disciplined with it. If there's one thing to be disciplined with, it's this stuff. Just you make sure you do this one thing every day. And it could be just meditation. It could be meditation and more, like exercise and all kinds of stuff, or diet. All that stuff helps. And actually you need it all to get to these sort of levels. But just, you know, and just start tomorrow. And then do it the next day and continue. And that's basically, and it might be months. Like you said, sometimes there's months here in the gym. Everyone's gone through this at the gym and you don't really see any change. Just keep going. Just keep going. Arnold Schwarzenegger went through all that. I know Arnold Schwarzenegger is a total idiot now and a dick and all that kind of stuff. But back when he was like the perfect physical male human body, he had many months like that where he just slogged through it. But what did he do? Just went back to the gym the next day again. That's all you can do, and keep focused on it. And there's nothing else to do. Like if you're thinking, oh, should I go to school for 4 years to do this? Forget it. AI is going to, you know, all those jobs are going to be gone. Forget it. Oh, should I do this? Should I, focus on this? There's only one thing to focus on, and that's doing the work on yourself. And then everything changes for the better. And that's the only one thing to do. There's nothing else to do. And you really realize that when you can actually see this for all for what it is, how even myself, when I look back at my life, it's like, holy cow, I wasted a lot of time. But in retrospect, I needed to go through every single one of those things to get where I am today. It's actually all a hero's journey that's all laid out for you. That is incredible. So every single thing that has ever happened to you was for a reason. And everything that's ever going to happen to you is also for a reason. And just have that knowledge and keep doing the work. And it all becomes a lot clearer and a lot better. And you know what? If enough people do this, and this is stuff that Christoph Melchizedek talks about, we can actually change this world dramatically, like massively. Like forget about small changes, like massively. We can actually recreate sort of a heaven on earth sort of situation if enough people start doing this work. So that's how important it is. And part of that is just them breaking their mind control. So things like the Jones Plantation might be the first step for one person to start doing these things and start questioning and start doing the work. So we're all playing our part in that, helping each other try to continue on with those things. And at the end of the day, it actually all didn't even really matter. But it's such a beautiful, incredible experience as you're having it. Just appreciate that every moment. I know you can't all the time. I know some days it's just like, this sucks. Just remember, this is a miracle, all of it. None of this is real. This is all created for you personally. And who created it? Well, I'll let you come up with that answer. If you meditate enough, you'll come up with that answer, and then you'll just start laughing.
I think that's a great way to end it here. I know you're busy and you've been kind with your time, and I appreciate it. Do you have any where should people find you, links? And of course we'll have them in the show notes for the delight of the audience.
Yeah, sure. You can find myself at dollarvigilante.com. You can find our videos at vigilante.tv. One thing we didn't talk about is the Tesla machine, which is absolutely miraculous. So there's new things coming in during this apocalypse that are miraculous. And this thing basically heals everything, gives you incredible energy. That's actually been a big part of how I've been for the last year. I've actually been de-aging. I actually have the metabolic age of a 30-year-old now, and I have the energy of a 10-year-old because of the Tesla machine. So go check that out. You can go to tzla.club. Oh, and then we're having our conferences coming up. I think you're supposed to be speaking at Anarchapulco next year. I think I heard them talking about you. Do you know about that?
I haven't heard anything, no. But
I'm
happy
they were
to do
mentioning
it.
you.
You're going to be in... go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we're going to be in Puerto Vallarta for the first time. So we're moving out of Acapulco. So direct flights from like everywhere in the world to Puerto Vallarta.
I could fly to Puerto Vallarta in 2 hours from where I'm at. Boom. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about that. But go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Try to talk Larkin Rose into coming too, because I know like a part of it in the past was it wasn't easy to get to Acapulco. So I'd love to have him back in Acapulco. I know for him, he doesn't see like the point as much, but he really should, because think about it. Jones Plantation, the movie, would not exist if he wasn't at Anarchapulco that year and you weren't there, right? So those are the things. Like he kind of thinks, well, I'm telling the audience stuff they already know. It's like, yeah, I know, but afterwards we all communicate, we all talk, and great, amazing things come out of it. So try to have him come. That's going to be coming up in February in Puerto Vallarta, and we're also having an event in Europe in about 2 weeks called Liberpulco in Serbia, right beside Liberland. You can check that out at liberpulco.com. And I think that's about it. I'm doing a lot of stuff, as I know you are as well. And that's all we can do. Just keep going, keep doing all this stuff, but mostly keep doing the work. That's the most important thing.
I mean, and part of doing the work is going and being around like-minded people. And Anarchapulco, I can't recommend it enough. It's such an incredible experience. And you were talking earlier about, drinking and you couldn't really socialize. I kind of had the opposite, where I immediately loved socializing sober, and I was sober during that conference. And for the most part, I did drink on the last day, but last couple of days, to be honest. But anyways, it was amazing. It's like socializing sober. But anyways, forget that. But the conference is amazing. I mean, it's such you'll meet so many interesting people. It's so important, especially since they're taking away the communal experience between us human beings. And you got to just it's worth the money. It's worth the investment in yourself to go down there and be around people and meet people, and you just never know what's going to happen or who you're going to meet. Like you said, I had no idea. I went down there to shoot this like documentary series called Democracy Down, and I met Larkin, and next thing you know, Jones Plantation. So I can't recommend it enough. But I'll talk to you soon, man.
Sorry, yeah, your audio cut out there for a second. I think my headphones died. So I missed the last part of what you said. But yeah, I think it is so important. Like, people have been locked down for years. I don't think most people can really go to a place and hang around with like-minded people anywhere where they live. So you have those opportunities with Anarchapulco in February in Mexico, and in like 2 weeks in Europe. So if you're watching this right now, it's like $50 on Ryanair to fly to Serbia. We're going to have 3 full days with amazing people, Max Egan, Alex Zek, so many incredible people. We'll also have the Tesla machine there. And thank you, Drew, for having me on. I really enjoy your show, by the way. I've watched a number of your episodes. They're really great. Keep up the great work, and keep doing the work.
You too, brother. Talk soon. Okay, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the show. You can follow me on Twitter if you want at Tregsman with 2 G's and an S, or you can subscribe to our YouTube channel at Drew Media TV. We also have a Rumble channel, Drew Media, if you prefer there. I know a lot of people don't like YouTube. Also, if you're listening to the podcast, like on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, if it's not too much of a pain and you like the show, give it 5 stars so we can get some help from the algorithm. Otherwise, all the other links to our social media will be in the show notes, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.